edition of In the Newsroom. My name is Olade Olanipeko, and with our colleagues in the newsroom, we'll be discussing three serious topical issues that we have today in the newsroom. Before I introduce my guests, let me quickly run through the topics. We will recall the twilight of the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan. There was this former head of service committee tagged Stephen Orosaye, Presidential Committee on Rationalization of Agencies of Government. And so the report has been inherited by the present government. And one of the recommendations is that some ministries, agencies, and development agencies of government will be scrapped. And so the first topic says, Orosaye report, Senate to scrap over 400 MDAs, that is ministries, departments, and agencies of government. The second topics are credited to two statesmen, former SGF and one-time presidential candidate of SDP, Chief Olufalaye, and of course, Dr. Kasai, a former president liaison officer to former President Shehu Shagari. They said no one can rig 2023 elections. That is the two header statement talking there. And of course, the third topic has to do with the ongoing face-off between the ASU and the federal government. The ASU president is being quoted. He said, "We are willing to call off strike." Well, I think with some caveat. And once again, welcome to the Friday's edition of In the Newsroom. And now with me, my immediate right, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dayo Olanipeko. Good afternoon to our esteemed viewers. It's nice being in the newsroom.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's our fortress.
I can say that. Also, Fridays like this, I know you're always around. And I also have,
Why the silence?
I want to describe it.
In what way?
You know,
your description should not be.
He's a lawyer.
Your description should not be.
I've not even said anything.
Yes,
you have said anything.
Why are you preempting?
Because that your silence is capable of drawing reaction.
He has introduced himself.
Okay.
Adam Bukola, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Oladayo.
And I'm starting from you.
Yes.
Stephen Orosaye report.
Yes.
And the Senate seems to want to accept Olatege. And he's saying of the 541 ministries and agencies of government, 400 will be scrapped. How does that look to you?
Well, you see, it is the duty of the National Assembly to repeal the law that is obsolete in Nigeria, and that one is one of their constitutional responsibilities. And at the same time, it is also part of their duties to ensure that agencies of government that are statutorily put in place are either functioning, the one that is not functioning, or the one that due to changes in technology or whatever, that is no more relevant. Even if they are created of statutes, they could still be repealed. I mean, merged with other agencies of government that where they will be, relevant, be more relevant.
Or where there are duplicate functions.
Where there is duplication of functions, that is what I said. You see, redundancy could be as a result of changes in technology or in the policies of government, or changes that are dictated maybe by the world market or by international policies. So in a situation like that, if there is redundancy or duplication of functions, that is the essence of government.
Okay.
It is the duty of government to ensure that individuals that are employed into civil service, you see, render services, that justifies or commensurate with what they are earning.
Okay, maybe let me back. You don't see it has been alarming. 541 and over 400 will be scrapped. You don't see that figure being too bogus?
Yes, in the first instance, MDAs, ministries, departments,
and
agencies are floated to drive the policies and programs of the government. And you recall that the mandate of Stephen Orosai's committee covers from 2014. Agencies set up or created from 2014 or so. We all know it. You and I know that the number is bogus. When you have over 541 federal agencies put in place, you discover that in most cases, many of the agencies were just created in duplication of the functions already being served by existing agencies and or departments, as the case may be. You want to come to term if really the essence of creating those agencies are to enhance the realization of policies and programs of the government, then we will not be talking about scrapping it this time around or not.
Okay.
But the reason behind the suggestion, or will I say the move, or will I say the recommendation, or the move being taken by the upper chamber of the National Assembly, was informed by the dwindling revenue. If agencies are created, and rather than serving the purposes for which they are created, they are already constituting a pipe dream.
Okay.
Then that is a problem. Then when you consider the number, back to the question you asked, the number is mind-boggling. Then you have to consider the fact that there are public servants in those agencies. Are they going to be redeployed?
Before we get to that,
that is the problem. So my concern, I don't have any concern regarding scrapping of those agencies if they are not living up to the billing. But my only concern has to do with those working there, career officers. So what will be the fate of those people? That's my own concern for now. But the propriety or otherwise of scrapping it will be justified when you consider that an agency whose capital expenditure is about 5 billion, and you discover that the expenses outside the capital expenditure is 500 million naira. And what is the revenue? 5 million naira. That is how much such an agency is realizing as revenue. That is quite incongruous.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. In the newsroom, you
from that break. I don't know. I'm coming back to you.
Yes.
The chairman of the Committee of Finance, Olamide Kadiola, Lagos West, why he was interfacing with agencies of government, really harped on low revenue generating MDAs. He insisting that those ones will be scrapped. And it's justifying, whereby the general government was given just 5 billion as revenue for the year, and they are only succeeding in generating 2 million, and the capital expenditure 2.5 billion.
You see, when we are talking of scrapping on the ground of low revenue, we have to think of some other factors. Now, how viable is that agency or commission with the projected revenue? That is the agency or the commission being well equipped for the purpose of meeting the targets?
Set out for them. The target set out for them.
Yes. Now, if they are well equipped, then the issue should not be even limited to scrapping, but to proping of the people there. Why are they not able, or what is the inhibiting factor? You see, that one will first of all be resolved. Until that one is resolved, then we will not be talking of abrogation or abrogating the MDA. Now, another thing is this: if there is corruption there, that abrogation means that those who have siphoned the government's funds will go scot-free. So there should be explanation as to what is responsible, what is hindering them from meeting the financial targets given to them by the government.
It's not about corruption. I don't know if I just say something. It's not all about corruption. You don't see listeners. You don't see.
We might not rule out corruption. Yes,
and that is the reason I said inhibiting factors.
Yes, we might not
the
rule
factor
out
that is mitigating against them from reaching the point. I mean,
I'm not saying it's all about corruption now.
We might not rule out corruption. From the old scenario, we might not rule out corruption, but more importantly, it has to do with efficiency, and so many factors come to play. When you talk about efficiency in public service, you might want to consider salary, consider emolument, consider the condition of service, consider so many factors. Then being adequately equipped to function to capacity, that's one thing. So most of these MDAs, you discover that as soon as capital vote is released to them, many of them will only go on spending spree. They will be buying vehicles, buying this, buying that, and at the end of the day, they find it difficult meeting the target. I think something has to, more so now that the Senate is interested in their being scrapped.
Don't forget, many of the agents we are talking about are the creation of the Senate or the creation of the Act of Parliament.
Definitely, none of the agencies will have been created without passing to, they are all creations of
Act of Parliament.
Act of Parliament. So definitely the National Assembly is also culpable.
Okay. I'll come back to that culpability. Adibu, you when you spoke about the staff strength, the civil servants there, but the federal government is saying nobody will lose their job. Or is it the fault of theirs? Some people even describe it as job for the boys. When at the end you are creating.
So unfortunate.
You see, if that is the case, then it is the federal government itself that should be blamed. For instance, if you are creating a particular government parastatus or agency or commission, you see, there should be duties assigned to them. And if duties are assigned and that duties are not well performed, then those that are saddled with that duties should be called to question. They should be questioned. But in a situation where there is no clearly stipulated or clearly defined roles, then the question now will come to whosoever that puts an agency like that, into operation, that set it in motion. That why did you think? What are the duties assigned to these agencies at the inception? So that one will be clearly investigated. For instance, like he said the other time, that agencies of government will be created with a specific law putting it up. Are you getting what I'm saying? But not all agencies of government or not all the government departments are the creation of statutes. For instance, now the ministries could emanate through the policies of government, through the policies of a particular government in place that demands for setting up a particular ministry. But when it comes to agency, commission, and so on and so forth, then duty must be assigned. Where that duty is not effectively performed, or where circumstances that necessitated the setting up of that ministry or commission maybe changing in administrative policy has rendered them redundant, then there is no problem, or there won't be nobody should be injured if that the agency is abrogated.
I think the reason we're having this challenge or these challenges, one of the reasons is due to the fact that many of these agencies were created when there was enough fund, and at times when you have more than enough, even on individual basis, when you have more than enough, that is when you think of acquiring your necessary assets. Governments must have been probably encouraged.
You don't see it as creating employment.
It is beyond creating employment.
Okay.
We said it the other time. Okay. It could be jobs for the boys.
Yeah, but some people say they are
you only be creating employment when the service or services expected to be provided will add value to the society at large. Now you discover that most of these agencies were just a drain pipe.
Okay.
When your revenue is dwindling. Now government is having problem getting more revenue, even from oil. Oil theft is one of the problems the government is confronting. So they have enough insufficient revenue now is being realized from oil. And when oil is not giving you much more, as much as you will require to service the government, then there is a problem.
I'm back to you, but I wanted to take this from Senator Solomon Adiola Olamilekan, the chairman, Senate Committee on Finance. He said, I'm quoting him now, there's no way in stopping the implementation of, or also a panel because of economic situation at hand in the country. Government needs revenue for impactful budget implementation, particularly in the area of project execution, and can no longer afford to be doling money to NDAs without corresponding returns on yearly basis. It's not self-indictment. Like we said, the Act of Parliament created all those agencies.
You see, the situation is this. Like I said the other time, there is no policy of government that we continue,
ab initio.
Infinito. You see, there is always, there is always a specific time that a policy of government will become moribund. And that is the reason we always have people in government. The essence of government is to come up with policies that are relevant to a particular situation on ground. At the time when all those agencies were created, like you said the other time, it could be the time of a surplus. But now that corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of the society and deep down in government, you see, it could be the issue of abrogation could even be for the purpose of saving some faces in government. That could be because if government should be probing into the reasons why some agencies of government are unable to make required targets. Maybe government might not even have opportunity of doing of even providing services again.
Okay, you want to agree that it's about saving? He said it is clear. No. He said original report should be applied on agencies with yearly low revenue generation.
Yes, that is a welcome development.
Yes.
If I told you about some of the agencies like Sokoto River Basin Development Authority, out of 7 billion naira collected from the government as funding for the year 2022, only a 7 million revenue was generated.
You see,
you collected 7 billion and you generated. So, in fact, you discover that such an agency does not even need to exist because it will continually be
a financial body.
What I don't know if I said the other time. Not all of these agencies were created by the present administration from 2014. So that
not 2014 alone.
No.
Some of them have been on ground
the report covers 2014.
Okay.
Up to date.
You see. So the performance of agencies covers 2014 till date.
Some of the agencies were created even before Anniversary.
Yes. Okay. So if the assessment covers from 2014,
the performance of the agency.
Yes, that is assessment, and that's the same thing we are saying. The agencies are being assessed from 2014.
Their performance.
Their performance. So I think what I want to say in that respect has to do with the fact that the government should take the bull by the horn, but I'm not really comfortable if we are now coming on with the suggestion that the agencies should be scrapped because the revenue is dwindling. That if they are no longer performing optimally, there is the need to review the statutory functions assigned those agencies in the first instance.
Duplicate. It was described as duplicate of function.
Yes.
Although the report is saying already say no job loss, meaning the staff will be redistributed.
Yes.
Where they are needed.
Yes.
But then the capital projects of many of these agencies of government, it's not about their overhead expenses now, but what they call capital projects.
Yes.
What the revenue is all about. cannot even make. You just read something out now.
You see,
7 billion to 7 million.
You see, look,
And none of the budget will be returned back to the government.
Biosafety management. That's what another agency
yes.
of the government.
Yes.
So National Biosafety Management Agency. The agency spent 500 million naira a year outside capital projects. Then what was remitted was 5 million naira.
If you find out, I'm coming.
Outside capital projects.
But you find out that the total emolument for the year of the entire staff may not be up to 5 million.
Now,
and they even spent outside the budget. You don't see that. You don't see the justification in scrapping some of those.
No, outside capital projects. That means the current expenditure.
You see, now
most of the
question
money,
is this.
the large sum of the money was on the current expenditure. If it's outside capital,
you see,
that is the implication.
You don't see the justification.
It is not justifiable.
Okay.
Now look at it this way. When we are talking of capital projects, capital projects are executed from the grants being received from the federal government.
That's allocation now.
It's allocation. It's part of the budget.
That is part of the budget.
It's a budgetary provision.
Yes.
That is what I'm saying. Now,
not grants.
We have some of them that takes grants.
Foreign grants.
No, not foreign grants. This type of they are as an agency of government. There will be a specific money that
it's not grant. That's the allocation.
It must be budgeted.
Budgetary allocation.
That we are saying the same thing in different ways.
You call it grant.
You see, we are saying the same thing in different way. Say for instance, OSBC now. We will have some of our allocations. Let me put it in the language that is clear to everybody. That in the course of budgeting in OSBC, some capital projects will be taken over by the state government, who is the proprietor of OSBC. Now, our
every capital project is borne by the government.
That is what I'm saying.
You say some.
I said over. Okay. All the capital projects will be the responsibility of the state government, because from what it is from the capital projects that we will be able to generate revenue. Now, but we have to be mindful of some things. In the case of those that took 7 billion.
7 billion.
7 billion.
And they returned 7 million as revenue.
7 million as revenue. Now, we will have to ask this question. Now, what is being expected of them to turn in yearly? Because we have some capital projects that the giving revenue that will cover the project will be running to, let's say, 5 years before they could meet up. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let's say now, for example, if the state government,
it's not about the years. You see, this. Let me.
Is it what they have been able to turn in? Say, is that 7 billion?
It's a yearly thing. You see, we are spending this. We'll be able to give you this as return, as revenue generation, and for a whole year, they are only able to turn in now 7 million.
In that wise,
yes.
If they have been taking that money,
yes,
let's say for the past 10 years, and they have been able to turn in more than 500 million. Now, there should be a way of investigating them.
Okay.
Because if they have been turning in more than that amount, because it becomes a news now. It becomes straight. The issue becomes something that is very strange now. Because if that has been the performance over the years, then the federal government will not, will not have legal right to question them.
Okay, I want to last thing, because don't forget that this issue came up when agents of government went before the Senate to defend the budget of the federal government for 2023, going to 90.76 trillion naira budget 2023, and 19 trillion, and the Senate is saying our agency report must be revisited, because many of these agencies of government are only taking capital projects which they will spend when the research is released. And not
when did they start that?
Let me tell you something. My last take on that is that if we are justifiably clamoring, or the Senate is clamoring for the scrapping of over 400 MDAs out of 541 as a result of the dwindling revenue generation to service budget, what about its own load? When will the Senate also shed load? That's my own question.
That question is not meant for me.
And it is important
because the Senate is also having a very big load.
But Senate is not a revenue generation agency.
I didn't require the last thing before you go to the second topic.
So because we are looking for money to service the budget.
Yes.
So we must look everywhere.
Yes.
We must plug loopholes.
I'm aware.
We must reduce expenses.
Yes.
That is overhead expenses. And the money spent on governance. We are all looking for good governance in this country. And if you are looking for good governance, civil service
is part of it.
It's part of it.
Because
it will drive the policies and programs of the government, even the democratic dividends of the government.
Now, Dayo, the way I look at it is this. Like he said.
Let's say the way you look at it.
You said?
Let's say the way you look at it.
The way I look at it is this.
Yes.
You see, these agencies of government were not. They were not created yesterday. They have been on ground, like let's say 10 years, 20 years ago. Now, when did their revenue, start dwindling?
Because they discover now that the revenue generation into the account is dwindling.
That is the reason.
Okay, let's see where we can.
It's not just that.
Let's start blocking loopholes.
Look, let me tell you.
And that is one of the ways.
There should be investigation. You see, if you are
investigation,
I want the National Assembly. I want the National Assembly to release it, because the issue of revenue generation is a matter of relates to documentation. That is, whatever you generate in a year or in a month, is expected to be. Is expected to be documented. Now, if the history of revenue documentation of these agencies are investigated, then we will know. Is it the way these agencies are winning?
Well, in all of that, let me get back. Now. We are going to the second topic. That would be. With that, they come back to you.
Okay.
Second topic. No one can rig 2023 elections. Coming from two statesmen, Olufalaye, a former SGF and president of OSBC one time, and of course, presidential liaison officer to former President Usagari, Tanko Kasai. That statement and that assurance by those two other statements.
The assurance looks assuring, no doubt about that on a surface level. But no system is foolproof. There is no system that cannot be compromised.
With the technology we have now.
Are you saying that? What are you saying? When
technology
a particular resident electoral commissioner admitted that even where those technology comes from, those technologies come from, that we don't need those technologies there. It is we Nigerians that really need the technologies. But let me tell you something. We must give kudos to the present administration. When you talk of the Electoral Act 2022, I want to give kudos to the president, in particular, Muhammadu Buhari, because he has continually restated it that is committed to bequeathing a system
credible.
Yeah, that will promote credible, acceptable, free and fair election, and is living up to the billing. So the reason Falaye and Jakasai have alluded to that is that the Electoral Act is really working, and it's working for us in Nigeria. The only thing I know is that there is no system we cannot compromise.
Before we talk of compromising
in Nigeria,
before we talk of compromising,
people are meant to drive a system.
Before we even go into that, I think, Bukola,
Yes.
you see those elder statement, the assurance, their conviction. You see it as
a statement of assurance. Can we take it as a statement of assurance? Now, the way I look at it is this: when they said the system is full proof, I mean error, I mean or rigging proof.
Yeah, it's foolproof. It's okay.
Yeah, you see, they didn't say anything. They didn't, bring out, supply facts to that claim. What I mean is that if you are saying that 2023 election cannot be rigged by anybody, on what basis? Is it on the basis of the technology that has just been invented into the system, or is it because
they spoke of the election result transmission and these observers?
You see,
at least in the history of this country, we can talk of such system
yes,
being used in an election.
Yes. You see, William Shakespeare once said that thou art noble. When Caesar and the two castes, they were discussing and said, thou art noble yet I see, but thy honorable matter may be wrought. Therefore it is said that men of honor do part with their lives, that there is nobody that is so fair that cannot be seduced. If we don't have a honorable mind that cannot be seduced, and we know that all this technology are not self-driven, they will be manned by what? By human being. So those human beings, like he said, if they don't compromise their integrity, if they don't compromise the confidence that people repose in them, definitely we are going to have what? Free and fair election. So the whole lies on INEC. The bulk of it is on Nigerians, the general populace. If you and I decide that we are going to have good government, definitely we will have good government. You see, a particular society will determine or will decide the type of government it likes. If a society decides that yes, what we are going to have is a bad government, it is by their own volition, by their determination, that a type of government that they want will be given to them.
You just give kudos to the president,
yes,
for signing the Electoral Act 2022. But you can recall that not many people are very optimistic that he will sign it. Signing it, you see the president passing a message as far as electoral system of Nigeria is concerned.
He has always said it.
Also with various sections that are heartwarming.
Yes, it was a statement of a well-intentioned plan. I want to believe that, alluding to what I said earlier on, the fact that the president has always said it, he reiterated it, and each time he has the opportunity of saying it, that it's going to be, in fact, the opposition parties are also alluding to it, that the president has done well, even though they might not want to praise him to high heaven, politically. But the opposition parties have alluded to it, that by signing into law the 2022 Electoral Act, he has demonstrated in intent and purpose his desire to bequeath a credible system of electing people into public offices in Nigeria. The only area I want to really lay premium on is for all of us. We're all stakeholders. It doesn't matter. It is one thing for the government to say, yes, I'm ready to do this and to be really walking the talk. But there are so many stakeholders as far as the conduct of elections are concerned. The conduct of election is concerned in Nigeria. The minister, apart from INEC, there are 1,001 stakeholders, including you and I. Even the electorate also have.
No, the media. Even you and I, you said it.
Yes,
the media.
The media. Yes.
But one of the rules as well is this we are performing.
Exactly. So let's give it to the government. That government has said it and is walking the talk.
Okay.
But there is still much grounds
to be covered. I don't know if you want to say something.
You see, the issue of Buhari signing electoral act bill into law. You see, you will Buhari, as at the time he signed the thing, didn't have any option. He just, he must sign it.
No.
I'm coming. If he didn't sign, I'm coming. If he didn't sign at that time, there is principles of checks and balances. This is a democratic government.
Yeah, we are not.
I'm coming.
I don't think we are discussing.
I'm coming.
Whether
this is a
sign or not.
This is a democratic government. He only signed. He signed that bill. You see, just to enable Nigerians to know that yes, I want good things for this country. I'm coming. And if he didn't,
yes,
he wants people at least to see him as have an intake, have a part in setting electoral system of Nigeria on good track. If he didn't, the bill could come back to the National Assembly, and by 2/3, if it is passed, it becomes
has he ever come in the history of Nigeria politics?
It could
as any national assembly overriding the president. It will never happen.
As at that time, what the country, you see, any government that is not gauging public opinion, that is adamant to public opinion, that government or whatsoever, be it executive, be it legislation, or even the judiciary, should gauge the public opinion in a matter that is that affects the members of the public. So that is the normal thing. So he only performed his constitutional role. If he didn't perform
let us
the bill should have been passed into law.
Let the president take.
Nobody can
let him
claim
take credit. Excuse me. Let him take credit for what he has done. Excuse me.
What of the National Assembly?
I have the floor.
What of the National Assembly that passed
the immediate past president, Jonathan, handed over to Buhari, and he took credit for doing that. So can we now say he had no choice? That he will have.
When you lose in an election, are you coming? When you lose an election,
it
is your responsibility. It is on you to vacate the office. Trump vacated.
Time is against us. Shall we go to this third topic? We are ready to call off the strike. Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, that is the ASU president. You don't see that the strike becoming an embarrassment to the country.
It is sad. It is sad because we are in a country where we have people of timber and caliber. We have people blessed with what? With very high IQ. Nigerians are known to be doing very well in all spheres of life. Even beyond the shores of Nigeria, we have seen a lot of Nigerians out there. Even in the best ivory towers globally, Nigerians go there to do well, to excel. And it's unfortunate that we are finding it difficult to really do conduct our own affairs in a manner that will reflect what we possess.
Okay.
Upstairs. So let me tell you something. Oshodeke, I'm not saying that ASU has no right to clamor for revitalization of university and to get an allowance and to reject the IPPIS and come up with UTAS or what you call it. But the fact still remains that this is one strike too many. And we cannot afford to continue like this. At some point, in Yoruba Palace, Ebu Alo, it appears ASU itself has seen it that is an inglorious path to take. Everything being clamored for is justified, and ASU deserves to be listened to. But we must not say let's say two parties must be ready to shift ground. And Oshodeke is saying that within 24 hours it is possible for them to arrive at a conclusion.
I want to quote Oshodeke now, the president of ASU president. On all these issues, we have given the government a minimum that we can accept. A minimum that we can accept. But they have not responded on the issue of revitalization, on the issue of an allowance, and on issues that we have all discussed. We negotiated and agreed that they should sign, and this is very simple, not more than 1 day. On UTAS and IPPIs, he said this is the report of the test you did, and let's look at the one that came first and take it as we agree. So we have given them the minimum we want, and we have come down, and they can do it in 1 day if there is a will.
You see, it means that the statement by ASU president carries some conditions.
More so, I want you to examine this. A minimum that we can accept.
Yes.
From an employee to an employer.
Yes. You see, when you are talking of the issue of employment, the issue of employment in Nigeria and elsewhere is governed by law. And the individual will try to exercise his right within the armpit of the law that created employers relation or relationship. And I think if these people are saying that, look, this is what we can accept, I expect the federal government to also consider their position. For instance, how will anything little than what they offer, how is it going to affect them? I think it is important. Very, very important.
I want to last take. Even when the federal government offered 23.5% salary increase.
Even the
salary increase,
the professors are even getting 35%.
I'm coming. That 35% increase is not immediate, and that 23% is not immediate. The federal government is saying that it will be included in the budget of 2023.
Adebukola, you think any government by now September
will just money?
Where is the money? Where is the money?
Where did Jonathan get money?
Things are not done that way.
20 billion
naira that pocketed
for 2014.
These people, look, these people, excuse me,
yes.
These people, they have been on this issue since the inception of this administration.
No, it's a 2009 agreement.
2009.
Yes.
Okay. What?
It means was.
No, I monitor.
We're not abreast of what's happening.
I'm monitoring the situation.
Yes.
If it is 2019.
2009.
If it is 2009.
Yes.
And these people have been written to update. To keep the.
I'm only trying to allow you to know that it's not an agreement of yesterday, 2 years ago.
The government just agreed that it will increase salary by 24%.
I'm coming. In the days of Jonathan.
Rank and file.
In the days of Jonathan.
Yes.
In the days of Jonathan.
Yes.
You see, it is this agreement of 2009 that was pursued during Jonathan's administration.
They were not implemented. That's why
part of it was implemented.
No. That's what he started saying.
No. Jonathan gave them 20 billion. If you record,
do you know the 7 months we are only clamoring? The 7 month strike now is not new. During Jonathan, it was almost 9 months. Do you believe that?
And you know that before if this federal government had known that, okay, these people will continue at the finitude. Now, the government is being expected.
What is your last take? Time is against us.
Yes.
Let me,
Oshodeke, I want to leverage on what he said, that ASUU is ready to
willing.
Is willing to
subject to federal government.
Yes.
Time is against us.
I think there must be a conducive environment created for the two parties to meet again and find a way of ending. It is quite I don't know. It's annoying.
We just pray the
let the strike end.
It's in court. A judicial court has just shifted the judgment to September 19th.
It could not. It might not be in favor of the lecturers, right? But that would mean forcing them, because Oshodeke also made reference to it, that if the lecturers are forced back, they will not give their best.
We just pray they find a conducive point of agreement. The ASUU and the federal government. We just pray there is a conducive, a very convenient point that both of them will agree, and this issue will come to an end.
Yes.
I want to thank you for being around again.
My pleasure being around, being in the newsroom.
I know you are always in the newsroom. I do, Bola.
To God be the glory.
Until next week when we want to back in the newsroom. My name is Olade Olade Pekun. Bye bye.